Alright, let's get whether or not it is actually worth it to slap a turbo or supercharger on your car. Whether you're staring at your stock engine dreaming a boost or just wondering if all that extra air is worth the hype, I'm going to break it down for you in the next video. Turbo or supercharger, is it the ultimate modification or is it just a shortcut to expensive repairs, broken parts, and shattered dreams? Let's find out. There's a lot to cover here. We're going to do it in a short time. There's obviously a lot more details, so if you know a lot, you might be confused. If you're thinking about adding some boost to your ride, before we dive into the pros and cons, let's take a second to appreciate why the idea of boost is so tempting. Turbos and superchargers are basically magic devices that force feed your engine more air. More air means more fuel. More air and fuel means more bang, which means, you guessed it, baby, more power. It's like taking your car to the gym, putting it on the bench, and feeding it a steady diet of protein shakes and creatine until it benches 325. But is adding some boost to your ride a performance jackpot, or is it a surefire way to turn that reliable daily into a money pit? Let's get into the basics. What exactly is boost? Well, for the uninitiated, here's a quick rundown. Turbocharger. A turbo uses the exhaust gas from the engine to spin a turbine, which compresses the air and sends it back into the engine. The more exhaust gas is generated, the faster the turbo spins and the more air gets crammed into your cylinders. Now, a supercharger, unlike a turbo, is belt-driven. It's connected directly to the engine and spins with it, compressing air and feeding it back into the engine, just like the turbo, but without the delay of waiting for the exhaust gases to build up. More on that later. Both options get you one thing: air forced into the cylinders that results in more power. But how much more? Well, that depends on how deep your pockets are. Let's get straight to the point here. Boosting your car is addictive. Once you've tasted that sweet, sweet forced induction feel, it's hard to go back to your naturally aspirated life. Here's a few reasons why people love boosting their cars. First up, power. The most obvious reason is to boost power of your car. A turbo or supercharger can easily increase your engine's horsepower by 50 to 100% with the right setup. If you got a turbo 4 or V6, it can turn your car from to holy, what did I just do, real fast. Now, if we're talking about cost per horsepower, boost is one of the best mods you can do as well. A basic turbo kit might set you back a few grand, but you're hard pressed to find a naturally aspirated mod that delivers the same power increase without spending double or even triple that amount of money. Now, third up, street cred. Let's be real, telling your car is boosted just sounds cool. It's instant clout at the meet, and you get to feel like you're part of some exclusive club of horsepower junkies. Your ride goes from boring stock car to, oh wow, that thing's actually built in one big leap. Now, next again, when you boost your car, you're not locked into one power level. With a turbo, you can just keep turning up the boost and get even more power until you decide to ventilate the block and send a rod to meet God.
No! God, please, no! No!
Here's the thing though, boost is not all sunshine, rainbows, and tire smoke. There's some serious trade-offs, and if you're not careful, boosting your car can lead to heartache and empty wallets. Let's get into the downsides here. Why boosting your car might not be for you. First up, turbo lag, the thing that makes every boosted car owner wince just a little bit. Because a turbo runs on exhaust gas, there's a delay between hitting that skinny pedal and actually getting that sweet, sweet power. You'll slam on the gas, wait a minute, and then boom, boost kicks in and sends you flying. Superchargers don't have this issue, but turbos, yeah, you're gonna feel it, even with a properly sized turbo. Next up, heat. Both turbos and superchargers generate a ton of heat. Like, I can probably cook breakfast on this manifold levels of heat. More air means more combustion, and more combustion means higher temperatures. If you don't manage that heat with proper cooling, think an intercooler, water meth, heat wrap, E85, etc., you're asking for disaster. Third up, we're talking stress on your engine. Your stock engine, well, it wasn't exactly designed with 26 pounds of boost in mind. More power equals more stress on your engine's internals. Rods, pistons, head gaskets, all of these things can and will fail if they're not up to the task. Want to turn up that boost level? You better be ready to upgrade your internals too, otherwise you are risking a blown engine, and that's never fun. Now fourth, boost can get real expensive real fast. The basic turbo kit might be a couple $1,000s, but that's just the start. Once you factor in all the supporting mods you'll need, built motor, fuel system, cooling, a new clutch, etc, that price tag can go from 3 to 10 real quick. And don't forget about the inevitable trips to your tuner to get everything dialed in. Boost is fun, but it's definitely not cheap at the end of the day. Now, let's address the elephant in the room. Should you boost your daily driver? Well, here's the thing. Boosting your car that you rely on to get you to work, to school, the grocery store, or your weekly coffee runs is a big gamble. Can you boost a daily driver? Absolutely. Should you? Well, here's the pros and cons. Pros wise, you're going to have the most fun commute of your life. There is nothing like surprising the guy next to you at the stoplight with a little hit from that turbo. Boosted cars are fun even at low speeds, and just hearing that turbo spool, feeling that little bit of extra power makes every drive more exciting. Cons wise, more power equals more wear and tear. You're going to need to stay on top of maintenance, and small problems can quickly spiral into big ones fast. Daily driving a boosted car means dealing with turbo lag in traffic, which oddly enough, it's fun when you're cruising on open roads or stepping on it, but in stop and go, if you're trying to accelerate and brake, turbo lag can get kind of old. If something breaks, you might be looking at repairs that leave you Ubering to work for days, weeks, months, while you wait for parts or your time to fix it. In short, boosting your daily is a blast, but it comes with its own set of risks. If you're ready to deal with the quirks, the extra maintenance, well, go for it. If not, maybe keep that stock Civic for your weekday commute and save the boost for your weekend toy. Now, turbo versus supercharger. Which one's better? Well, it's an age-old debate. Do you go turbo or do you go supercharger? Here's the thing. Both are great. They just come with different trade-offs. Turbos. Pros-wise, you've got better efficiency and more potential for power at higher RPMs, more tuning flexibility. Cons-wise, turbo lag, higher heat levels, and can be pretty darn complicated to set up and install. Superchargers. Pros-wise, no lag, hit that gas, you're making boost. Instant power, easier to install, and more predictable power delivery. Cons-wise, they're less efficient, they put more load on the engine because they're belt-driven, and there's less potential for crazy power numbers compared to turbos, in a broad sense. If you want instant power with no waiting, go with the supercharger. If you're looking for maximum possible power potential and you don't mind a little lag, a turbo might be the better option for you. Also, which one makes cooler noises in your eyes? It all depends what you're looking to get out of your build. So what do you need to consider before boosting your car? Before you start dreaming of that turbo spool and blow-off valves, let's hit the brakes here for a second. Here's what you need to think about before you commit to boosting your car. 1. Is your engine ready? Boost adds a ton of stress. So if you've got an engine that's already high mileage or showing signs of wear, you might want to pop that thing out and build it before you get going. If you're serious about big power, you're going to need to beef up the internals. Pistons, rods, multi-layer head gaskets, etc. Can you afford it? Well, it's not cheap, and you're going to need to budget for all the supporting mods, cooling, fueling, tuning, and anything that goes wrong along the way. If you're just scraping by, it might be better to wait until you can afford to do it right rather than do it half blank. How much power do you really need? This might sound weird, but sometimes more power isn't the answer. If you're boosting a car just to say, yeah man, I got 700 horsepower, but you don't plan on tracking it or using all that power, it might not be worth the effort. It's more fun to drive a slow car fast than a fast car slow. Now, fourth, are you ready for the commitment? It's not a one and done mod. You're going to need to stay on top of maintenance, and the more you push your engine, the more attention it will need. If you're not ready to deal with potential issues, maybe just stick with some safer bolt-ons, intake, exhaust, and tune being great ones. So, let's sum it all up. Is it worth it to boost your car? Well, if you're chasing big power figures and have the budget and the patience and the time to do it right, yeah, 100%. It's one of the most effective ways to unlock some serious horsepower and take your car to the next level. But it's not without its risk. Boost adds complexity, it adds heat, and it adds stress to your engine. And if you don't take the proper precautions, it can turn into a headache and a money pit quickly. If you're ready for the challenge, boosting your car can be one of the most fun, rewarding modifications you'll ever do. Make sure you're going in with your eyes open, a solid plan, maybe a backup ride to work, and some deep pockets. Because when it comes to boost, things can get real pricey and real out of control real quickly. Thank you guys so much for watching. What's the next video you want us to talk about? Whether or not something you can do to your car is worth it? Drop in the comments down below. Hit the like button, hit subscribe, check out our website, pick up some wheels. Heck, I think we even sell turbo kits, so you can pick one of those up now too, and I'll see you in the next one.